Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Christina McNeil, and this is MB12 for Tuesday, July 3rd, 2012, broadcasting from the Cable 12 studios on Robinson Road. In news tonight, the Prime Minister explains the delay in appointing statutory boards. Some residents in Western New Providence welcome the upcoming closure of a busy road. Urban Renewal 2.0 putting a strain on the Department of Social Services, support for security upgrades at Princess Margaret Hospital, and driving local tourism traffic to the Family Islands. We have those stories and much more coming up tonight. Your MB12 starts right now. Thanks for joining us. The 100-day milestone set by the Christie administration in its Charter for Governance is fast approaching. But as critics of the current administration have pointed out, the Prime Minister has yet to appoint new statutory boards since taking office nearly 2 months ago. Today, Prime Minister Christie spoke to the delay. On the steps of Cabinet, the Prime Minister revealed that his mother-in-law's illness has led to some of the delay in the appointment of board members. He added that his team is in the process of reviewing what has to be done before those appointments can be announced, but the announcements are coming imminently.
Those appointments that included persons who had to become signed, like the Bridge Authority, we have authorized those appointed chairmen to go and get regularize their papers and start the process. We are well aware of the public curiosity and interest as to who will be on the boards, and so they will be announced imminently. Unfortunately for me, I've had an illness in my family that has resulted in my mother-in-law passing, and so they were just holding up certain matters for me to review. And I'm pending that during the course of today. We'll be able to make the announcements.
Free National Movement Chairman Charles Maynard told our news team that as of June 30th, 2012, the tenure of most of the statutory boards expired by law. Prime Minister Christie promised last month that the new board appointments would be made by the end of June. So far, Tall Pines Member of Parliament Leslie Miller has been named chairman of the Bahamas Electricity Corporation, though that appointment has still not been officially announced. Meanwhile, Christie tells MB12 his government is also focused on the 100-day commitment made to the Bahamian people. Promises have been made regarding crime, joblessness, the state of the economy, the cost of utilities, and alternative energy. Christie says he knows people are interested in how much progress has been made so far and how much is left to be done, but he adds he is confident he is well on the way to meeting those deadlines.
We are really committed to the 100-day program. We are on time. We're going to be ready to make the announcements, and I'm sure before the appointed time I will speak to the Bahamian people on the progress we have made on the 100-day program and on other initiatives that we are taking in the country.
By the end of the 100-day deadline, government is also expected to have laid the framework for a referendum on gambling. However, job creation continues to be a top priority of the Christie administration, along with foreign direct investment.
We're working very hard to sort of ensure that developments that were in progress actually continues, and those that had stopped, that we actually could have those resumed.
Last week, government signed an agreement for a development on Bimini, and Christie says more announcements can be expected regarding job creation and developments throughout the Bahamas. The Prime Minister says he is encouraged and thinks the possibilities for job creation can only get better from here. Well, the wife of Prime Minister Perry Christie, Bernadette Christie, is of course also mourning the loss of her mother. Mrs. Trixie Hannah Nee Burrows died this morning just before 7 at Princess Margaret Hospital. A daughter of Deadman's Key, Long Island, Trixie Hannah is the mother of 2 daughters, Mrs. Paula Hannah Miller and Mrs. Christie. She has 4 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren. According to a statement released earlier, Mrs. Hannah will be laid to rest on Saturday, July 7th at 11 a.m. at the St. Agnes Parish on Blue Hill Road. Interment will be at St. Agnes Cemetery on Nassau Street. In other news, prepare for another major road closure, but it has nothing to do with the New Providence Road Improvement Project. Baha Mar is gearing up for the permanent closure of Prospect Ridge Road this month. That means motorists will no longer be able to drive between Skyline Lakes and High Street. It's part of Baha Mar's $2.6 billion project. Today, some area residents say they're looking forward to the change. For some others, not so much. Monique Toot reports.
As of 6 a.m. on July 15th, Prospect Ridge Road will be closed at this point, ending just west of High Street as part of Baha Mar's ongoing infrastructural works. Residents of this area admit it's a bit of an inconvenience, but they say they're quite excited. They're hoping it will mean less traffic in their community and much less visits from criminals. One Skyline Lakes resident who did not want to give his name says after the newly realigned West Bay Street was opened late last year, more motorists opted to drive along Prospect Ridge Road and sometimes made their way into that community. He says break-ins on his street started shortly after that.
Criminals are find their way regardless to get an area, but I think it will cut down on it. You know? But I think it's a good idea because it kind of narrow down like the possibility of criminals coming in the area. And, right now the crime is at an all-time high.
Sterling Clare agrees. He's lived in the area for about 15 years. Clare and his neighbors say they're looking forward to less traffic and more privacy.
When I go out on this road at, say, between 7 and 7:30, it's very difficult sometimes getting out of the corner because since the new highway was completed out west by the hotel, what happened, a lot of the residents who resonate in this particular area here, instead of taking the highway, and because the roundabout is such a long process, they start to use the main road here, which is Prospect going east. So for us, it take a little while getting out.
In the morning time, and I'm trying to get out, and in evening 5 o'clock traffic, it's ridiculous.
While residents of Skyline Lakes embrace the change, Westward Village residents aren't so happy. President of the Westward Villas Association, Leslie Munning, says the closure will cause a major inconvenience for residents in that area. However, he says they understand Baha Mar's reasoning. The developer is shelling out over $120 million on roadworks alone. Traffic will be rerouted along the new Corridor 7. That's the two-lane road linking John F. Kennedy Drive to West Bay Street. Baha Mar officials expect it to be completed in September or October. Baha Mar's Senior Vice President of Government and External Affairs, Robert Sands, explained that the Skyline Drive closure would allow the developer to proceed with its golf course.
Vehicular traffic traveling from east to west on the former Prospect Ridge Road will cul-de-sac just past the entrance of Skyline Lakes. Traffic traveling east from west on the former Prospect Ridge Road will cul-de-sac at an area on the opposite side as well, just past the major intersection, about 200 yards.
Baha Mar studies show this new route will increase motorist drive by 3 to 5 minutes. However, Sand says the upside is this change will create 3 new gated communities.
Skyline Lakes will become a complete gated community. Only for residents who live in that area can exit and arrive because there'll be no through traffic into Lake Cunningham Estates. Lake Cunningham Estates will have their own private access.
Baha Mar officials have informed residents of this change. However, Sands says they will meet with them once again and make more public announcements in mid-July. Reporting for MB12, I'm Monique Toot.
Since its relaunch in early June, the focus on Urban Renewal 2.0 has been on the role of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. But many may not realize that the Department of Social Services plays a critical role in the program. As Jasmine Bonmi explains, those additional duties are adding further strain to an already burdened department.
Distribution centers like this one has over the years brought those in need to the Ministry of Social Services. But thanks to Urban Renewal 2.0, more social workers are heading into the community, and that means more cases for the already burdened ministry. Urban Renewal 2.0, considered a major initiative in the Christie administration's Project Safe Bahamas, was relaunched on June 4th amid a high level of crime. But officials say not only police will help in the fight against crime. Minister of Social Services Melanie Griffin says social service workers are addressing an increasing number of cases of those in desperate need.
One of the most glaring issues is definitely homelessness. Our persons in, not so much homelessness, as persons living in conditions, that are not conducive really to human existence. No light, no water.
Griffin said the number of people needing food and rental assistance is also growing, with requests for rental assistance outpacing those for food.
A lot of people, they would just rather stay in their condition and not even, unless you go into the community, they might not come to our social services, and that is what happens. You find them in these conditions, but they never, or if they come into the outreach center or into social services, they might say, well, I need food. And social services might deal with the food situation maybe on a temporary basis or an emergency basis, but they'll not tell you about the conditions under which they live.
Shortly after the May 2012 general election, Griffin said there was a critical shortage of staff at the ministry who were already burdened with heavy caseloads. She admits Urban Renewal 2.0 has added to the workload, and the program's demand for access to social services is growing. But Griffin says it's not all bad news, as under Urban Renewal, cases have a faster turnover time.
Where you find a social services that is on demand and under-resourced, then you will find then that the investigation, because there's always supposed to be a home investigation, but the length of time it takes for the worker to get to the home, is a long time. It's meant to be more like of a fast-track situation, instead of, you always get the complaints where things take weeks, requests take weeks, but it's designed to move it through quickly.
To meet the increasing demand within the program, the social service minister says case aides will be trained and reintroduced into Urban Renewal.
You will find us bringing back the trained social worker, and then of course we will again be training persons to be case aides.
Since its launch, police have conducted several walkabouts under the Urban Renewal program and identified several community issues. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Bonamy.